What's going on, guys? This is Lior and welcome back to my channel. Now, I am so excited in this video to give you guys a behind the scenes of one of the coolest projects I think that I've personally done. We're standing behind a previous church building here in Boston. We have now started construction on this previous commercial building, again, that was used as a church, and we are now building it out for 6 residential apartments. So what I thought I would do is give you guys an exclusive tour as we start framing right now. You guys can see just how crazy of a building it is inside. The ceiling heights are amazing. These are going to be beautiful brick exposed lofts here in Boston. And then I'll give you guys details about how we went about buying the building, zoning the building, permitting it, how we brought in different types of lending from construction lending to a private lender. So I'll give you guys all those details. So let's get after it right now. All right, so welcome now to the inside of the building. Looks very different in here, of course, and you know, it's changed so much since we first started demoing. So as I said in the intro, what I'll do is I'll give you guys a tour of the layout so you kind of get a feel of the project. And of course, like I said, we'll talk about how we approach the construction, the financing behind it, the strategy and everything. But why don't we start at least walking through the building? That way you'll get a feel of the building. So, you know, as I said, it's 6 apartments right now. And the way it's going to be laid out inside, the first 4 floors, or the first 4 units actually, they're all bi-level units. So you can see this whole first floor is already framed out. Each of these is going to have a square footage in the base, in the subgrades or the basement, and we're going to have basically 4 stacked units compromising the first floor and the basement. So I'll start walking you guys through it. The way these are actually laid out is the bedroom space is going to be in the upstairs, so in the first floor for these units, and then the living space, the kitchen is all going to be below grade. So you can see we're actually already flying through the framing process, which is fantastic. You know, our framers are doing a great job. We already have a new roof, and you can kind of get a feel too. One of my favorite things too about this project is the ceiling heights in all these units, right? Like, these are absolutely ginormous ceilings. I mean, if I had to estimate, probably 14 feet, maybe 13, 14, 15 feet even. So they're just gonna feel very much lofty, like loft style. They're gonna have exposed brick, right? So you can see all the brick inside here. We're gonna keep that exposed. You know, obviously we'll repoint it and put mortar in, just make it look really nice again, since it hasn't been touched up in a long time. But this will truly be like the definition of exposed brick lofts, right? Which is so unique. I mean, you know, I'm personally a huge sucker for that kind of, you know, for that kind of inventory. I would love to live in an apartment with, you know, that has brick lofts. So I think it's really cool, right? So again, the ceiling height, the brick is all gonna really make this stand out. But yeah, these are basically our floor plates. So you kind of have a sense. And then when we go upstairs too, I'll show you guys in a little bit. Upstairs is going to be 2 more units. They're going to be on single levels. They're a little bit bigger. You know, each of these apartments here is about 950 square feet or so, up to 1,000. Upstairs is about 1,100 to 1,200. So getting a little bit more square footage. Those are going to be kind of the 2 penthouses, and then kind of the 4 base units here, which will really cap out the layout. Now as we're gonna go up to the 2nd floor, I'll show you guys that up there. And actually, before I do, you can kind of see this is gonna be the basement. We can't get in there right now because we're framing in the stairs, but you can see it's very, very deep. And that's gonna be where we're gonna have a lot of square footage. But that's gonna be, we'll show that to you guys on the next video. But now as we go upstairs to the 2nd floor units, let's talk a little bit about the actual financing component and how we finance this, right? So, you know, as I said in the intro, this used to be a church building, right? It was occupied by a church group. So it was used as a commercial building, right? 1 tenant, for a commercial building. Now, when we bought it, we knew we could rezone the property, you know, and we could change the usage up. But in order to do that kind of transaction, we have to bring in what's called bridge financing to actually close on the deal, right? So We got bridge financing, went in, closed on the property, and then started the zoning process, right? So the zoning process, in a city like Boston does take a long time. This one probably took us just about around 12 months or so to complete. It consists of a lot of different steps, meeting with community groups, abutters, making sure everyone's happy. So that took quite a bit of time. And then once we got actual city approvals to do the 6 apartments, that's when we refinanced from the bridge financing into a construction loan, which is what we have right now, right? So basically, the bank reevaluated the value of the building once we had permits in place to convert it to 6 units. We also, gave us a new assessment. The bank also financed our full construction loan, which I'll talk about in a little bit. And essentially, that's what is allowing us to finance all of this build out of the actual building. So now let's walk through so you guys can see up here in this unit just how cool this feels. Again, super, super high ceilings. You can see, these again, at least got to be 15, 16 foot ceilings, if not more. It honestly might be more. And what's also cool is a lot of these kind of arches from the church, all from the previous building, right? That's all being kept, right? We're keeping the facade of the building, so it's really gonna reminisce and feel like a true, like a truly converted church, which I think is so cool. You'll have your windows. This will be glass as well, and it will really feel like you're living like truly in an old historic building. But of course, everything in here is gonna be brand new, as you guys can kind of see. So in terms to just give you guys a little bit of light about the actual construction process, in terms of our budget for this, we roughly budgeted about $1.4 million. So far to date, we've actually been coming in below on a lot of our quotes from our GC. So, I think we're going to be able to shave down that budget. You never know, but hopefully we will. And I'll kind of continue to guys show you some of the other parts of this unit. But yeah, so we have about $1.4 million construction. Again, includes everything, right? When we're talking about the construction process here, essentially it's new construction within an existing frame, right? Like everything here was demoed. The building was like essentially a hollow shell. You could tell we even have we put obviously new subfloor everywhere. So there's new subfloor. Literally everything is brand new except for the shell. These are the old windows. They're obviously going to be replaced. They're going to come in with like that black framing. It's going to look super, super nice with the brick. So that's kind of how we're approaching the construction. We're hoping to be done sometime around spring to summer of 2024. It's kind of the estimated timeline, but we'll kind of see how it plays out since this is definitely a little bit more of a unique construction project than the typical multifamily building. So now as I show you guys the back half of the second floor as well, I'll talk a little bit as well about the private lending side of it. So, I kind of mentioned the bank's role in all this, how they provided the bridge financing and then they provided the refinance with the construction loan. So along with all this, we also had private lenders jump in with this deal with us. So these private lenders came in, they financed, our initial down payment, our initial soft costs. We do this quite a bit with our investors. They get a fixed return on their dollars, right? Usually it's somewhere around 14 to 15% annualized. And as you can kind of see, again, this is the back half of the unit. Still feels really good. But for those private lenders, as I was mentioning to you guys, they were a really key component as well, right? They kind of helped us with the initial costs. Making sure we had the liquidity to go through the zoning process, get all of our docs in place. Because even something like this, even once you go through the zoning process, just to get the building permit is actually pretty complex. You need a lot of different vendors. You need mechanical services. Of course, architectural, structural. So there's just a lot of cost that goes into it. That was financed in part due to our partnerships with our private lenders. So huge component. Could not understate that enough.